Good afternoon. It's Friday, November 1st with Panther News Network. My name is Khalid.
And I'm Assatu Bailey, and this is what's happening today.
Voter boxes with ballots inside were found on fire in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. Police got a call and put the fire out on both boxes shortly after. Investigators suspect at least 475 of the ballots were damaged in Washington, while the Portland box only had 3 damaged due to fire suppressant devices inside the box. Authorities are now currently looking for the suspect and have now identified the suspect's vehicle used to commit the crime. To ensure that no more mail-in votes are targeted, police in the area have stated heavy surveillance on the ballots in the area and intend to send replacements to all voters affected. The FBI released a statement Tuesday morning stating that they want to assure communities that we are working closely and expeditiously together to investigate the 2 incendiary fires at the ballot boxes in Vancouver, Washington, and 1 in Portland, Oregon, and will work to hold whoever is responsible fully accountable.
Last weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris rallied supporters in Houston, Texas, where she addressed key issues such as affordable health care and reproductive female rights. The event drew a large crowd with enthusiastic attendees eager to hear her vision for the upcoming election. The event even had guest speakers Beyonce take the mic and share her passion with the upcoming election. Harris highlighted the importance of community engagement and urged Texans to make their voices heard at the polls. Her passionate speech reinforced the administration's commitment to addressing the concerns of everyday Americans while fostering the unity in the face of divisive politics.
So kind of what's going on with that whole situation, what kind of comes to mind?
I definitely think that both parties are having their polls and rallies and things like that. But to have Beyonce come out and show her support, we definitely see that. We don't really see Beyonce a lot back in Houston with everything that she does have going on. But I definitely think that because of her support, we will see more black people and women out and support Kamala. Even though she is black, she's also a woman, and she definitely support when the women's right of abortion took place. A lot of people was upset. So do you think that it will ever be overturned for women to have that right again?
Well, I surely hope it is because, belief aside, I believe that it's not a man's choice to make that decision.
Most
But
definitely.
on top of that, I feel like when you look at Kamala's rallies compared to Trump's rallies, most recently, when you look at Trump's rallies, he had a comedian come out and openly offend literally every race you can think of.
Yes.
Had a joke to accompany them, and a lot of people did not take that. Like, they didn't take that well. Of course they shouldn't. They shouldn't take that well. It was
Yeah.
derogatory. It was offensive, and ultimately it should, even though it probably won't, because a lot of people tend to teeter and make, I would say, excuses
Yeah.
for people when it comes to stuff like this, or he's misunderstood. But I do feel like that should negatively impact Trump's engagement when it comes to voting. More recently, there was a clip that I saw for Kamala when she was at her rally. You remember the clip of her saying, "You guys are at the wrong rally, the rally to
Yes,
smoke."
yes, yes, I
Some
do.
people are misconstruing that as well, and I feel like that should be talked about more because when you look at Kamala's rallies, you have to understand that she's engaging with the community, and having Tim Walz, somebody that was a teacher and somebody that also was in the force and served,
Yes.
is a general. He understands what it is to be be a part of the American people.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at her rallies and you look at the comparisons between them, I feel
Yeah.
like there is a more humanitarian aspect when you look at the Democratic rallies.
Yeah, I definitely think her PR team is definitely putting out there what they want to see because people listen to Beyonce. She brought out Beyonce. She brought out Megan. She brought out people that people would generally listen to. She's all about this is a family. Let's have fun. Let's intentionally. Donald Trump is let's make America great again, but she's like let's come together to have a great time, and I definitely think that that was amazing for her to do that and incorporating everybody that she does talk to.
Yes, and I feel like it's important for everybody to come in and vote. But continuing on to more Prairie View news, to all my Prairie View students out there, on the topic of voting, make sure you go out and vote. The March to the Polls event is taking place today, Friday, November 1st. It'll be an exciting event where students and anyone else interested will march from the MSC to the PV Welcome Center to cast their votes here in Waller County. I encourage you and your friends and anyone else you know to come with you this Friday and make use of their time to vote. Moving into commercial break, just very briefly, we will see you guys in a little bit. Coming back from a commercial break, we're going to go right back into the news.
In recent news, Prairie View A&M, our football team took us all the way home with a big win last week for our homecoming. The final score ended with the score 34-27 against Texas Commerce. While we were so proud of our Panthers, we want to also shed the light on the amazing homecoming culture we had last weekend. Thousands of people flooded PV's campus for Friday and Saturday.
And to continue news in HBCU polo team at Morehouse College. This was Morehouse's first game of the season, ending with a nail-biting score of 16-15, with the win going to Yale. After 2 years of planning, Morehouse finally unveiled the team in full confidence back in 2019 and recently gained membership to the state's Polo Association. Morehouse Polo President Tyler Williams gave a statement after the team's recent match saying that Morehouse Polo's goal is to inspire other HBCUs and people of color to not only play polo, but to be in places that they might not want to be in and may not have the chance to be in. Swanson, a player on the team, also shared that he hopes the game will inspire other HBCUs to create their own programs and teams, and the sport won't have this aura of exclusivity that it's had for the past hundreds of years.
I definitely think that with Prairie View winning our homecoming, Ocho Cinco did come out and he shared on the Shannon Sharp show that Black people should go to a HBCU and get the opportunity, or either get the opportunity to experience a homecoming. Win, lose, or draw between our Panthers, we definitely support our football team, and I believe that homecoming gives those boys an extra push because you saw them fighting from first quarter to fourth quarter.
Of course. And kind of continuing on just the representation of HBCUs, we just discussed the fact that the Polo Association is now recognizing Morehouse as an official college as a part of their association. And I think that's a very, very big leap. I happen to know somebody that is a part of the modeling troupe for those that are modeling the polo clothing and what they actually do. So it was a great thing to see, and I feel like it's a major step for HBCUs and breaking down the barriers of exclusivity when it comes to areas that we're not necessarily known to be in.
We definitely want to appreciate our football team and them having the opportunity to even go out there and do what they do. So we want to appreciate everybody that came out. Let's go ahead and go to our news. Today marks the significant moment for Houston as the city experienced its first rainfall in 35 days. Providing much needed relief after the prolonged dry spell. Residents welcome cloudy skies and steady drizzle, which not only helps alleviate drought concerns, but also cools down the warm temperatures that have persisted here. Local farmers and gardeners are particularly grateful for the moisture as it alleviates parched landscapes and supports crop growth. Meteorologists note that the rain could contribute to improved air quality and aid in the replenishment of local water sources, making a much anticipated event for the community.
And as we're segueing, we're going to go straight into entertainment. The Mendez brothers may reach their goals for a clemency or a resentencing no later than December, as the LA District Attorney George Gaskin shows full support on the brothers receiving some mercy on their sentence no later than 2 weeks after the release of their recent Netflix series Monsters aired to the public. The brothers were originally serving a life sentence to the murder of their parents back in 1989, but after further review of evidence, conclusions were drawn that both brothers were being severely abused. Gatskin gave a statement Monday stating that he strongly supports clemency for Eric and Lyle Mendez, who are currently serving sentences of life without possibility of parole. They respectively served 34 years and have continued their educations and worked to create new programs to support the rehabilitation of fellow inmates. A clemency request for both brothers' attorneys was sent to the governor of California on Monday, and soon word will be out if the governor is in favor of the brothers' release in December or if they should be held to continue their life sentence.
Young Thug was sentenced to time served yesterday as part of the sweeping case that originally included dozens of defendants. The rapper, who was given the name Jeffrey Williams, was released Thursday night after more than 900 days in custody, according to the jail records. He must have served 15 years on the probation as part of the non-negotiable plea agreement. In 2022, Williams was charged along more than 24 others under the Georgia Spiraling Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization Act, or RICO for short. Williams entered a non-negotiable guilty plea deal Thursday related to several charges, including firearm possession and participation in criminal street gang activity, where he pleaded non-consent to racketeering and leading a criminal street gang. This case marked the longest in Georgia's history. Judge Whitaker ordered Williams to remain in the metropolitan area, Atlanta, for 2 days after his release from custody. For the first 10 years of his probation, Williams is allowed to return to Atlanta area only for weddings, funerals, and graduations, must leave within 48 hours of these events ending. He is required to return to the area 4 times a year for each year for the probation. To host an anti-gang and anti-gun presentation. We definitely think that with these charges, and you see many charges going to trial now, for Young Thug to come out, and like them stating, there's way more people to come, and having people in there and having people just not get served the way they need to get served. We saw that many people, like Mariah the Scientist, was happy that he did get out, and we definitely saw Judge Whitaker in the present cases. She wanted everybody to kind of get to the point, and it just, the defense versus what they was presenting just wasn't enough.
Yeah, and kind of talking a little bit more about it wasn't enough. He was not found guilty on any RICO charges that were associated with the trial that he was on. It went on for it was Georgia's longest criminal trial case, and honestly, it seemed very unproductive when you think about what Young Thug was kind of being considered of being criminal too.
Yes.
And what was put out before his official press release of what he will be serving, it was speculated that he will be sentenced to 20 years of being actually in jail and serving 20 or 25 extra years of being on probation, which is about 40 years of just being under surveillance for something that I'm not going to say he didn't do, but something that he wasn't. There's something that he was not found guilty of because of the lack of evidence of him being associated with the crime. But him having 15 years of probation, I think that allows for him to, I guess, make a clean slate. There's a bunch of things that have to happen in order for him to be able to be within the regulations of his 15-year probation sentence. But all in all, for somebody that enjoys watching music, that enjoys listening to music, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be very excited that Young Thug is no longer in the custody of police.
I definitely think that we need to look at the fact of what's happened, the evidence that's there, and even how long a case lasts. We showed that Judge Whitaker kind of wanted to prolong, because Judge Whitaker wasn't the first judge. She kind of got into it, but then after that, she was like, okay, this is what's going to happen. And we do appreciate judges like that, straight getting to the case of not just leaving somebody in the holding cells.
Of course. And this will conclude our show for this afternoon. This has been Panther News Network with Khalid
And Assatu Bailey.
And we will see you guys in the next installment of Panther News Network.